Hello everyone, welcome back. So in this video series, we are going to work upon setting up the citrix components. So where we are going to work around with the different components of the citrix, which belongs to the control layer. So the very first component that we are going to work around is going to be the citrix controller. So here is the machines where I have attached the ISO image, the installation image of citrix Zen app and Zen desktop 7.6. So before we go ahead and start the installation, the very first thing is I need to make sure that my machine is joined to the domain. So here, okay, full computer name, my domain name, okay, test.lab, it is joined to the domain. No worries, I will just close this and run this installation file. So here you get two options in the welcome wizard, that is Zen app or the Zen desktop. Which one would you like to install? Now here, if you are installing the Zen app, then in that case you can only deliver the applications, whereas delivering of the desktops will not be possible. But if you are installing the Zen desktop, then in that case you can deliver both applications and the desktop. So we'll go ahead with the desktop, go with start, and here, so these are the different components. So since this machine, I'm going to make it as the citrix delivery controller. So I'll select the very first option that you see here, the delivery controller. So it will take quite some time to come up. So as I have already told you that each and every component, each and every citrix VDI component, we are going to have it on the different servers or on the different machines we are going to have it. Whereas on this particular machine, we'll be having the controller, we're going to have the license server and the studio. So studio is going to act as your management console to manage the studio and your license server to deliver the end user licenses. Remaining components, citrix director will be on a different server, storefront will be on a different server, and we already have an SQL server available with us where the controller will be managing its database, so the controller will be storing its database. License agreement, we'll just accept it, proceed next. Now here is where you'll be selecting the components that you would like to install. So let me uncheck everything first. So now I need controller here, I need studio to manage this, and the license server. The storefront and director will have it on the different servers. I'll just proceed with next. SQL Express would you like to have? Definitely not, because I'm using a different SQL server. Go with next. So these are the firewall ports, those has to be open, but you keep in mind that these firewall ports, what is being shown over here is for this local server that will be opened. So if you go with automatically, so here by default the roles or the rules will be created in the firewall to open these default port numbers. If you go with manually, then in that case you have to manually create the firewall rules to allow these port numbers. Let's go with next, summary tab, and just click on install. It's going to take quite some time to get installed. So let's wait for the installation to get completed. So we see here that the controller is installed, studio is installed, and next license server on progress. So few more minutes to go. Okay, so here the installation is completed. Okay, so we have installed delivery controller, studio, and the license server. So I just go ahead and click on finish. Once you click on finish, you get the snap-ins. So it's loading the studio console that it gets connected to the Citrix controller. So let's wait for it. It's going to take quite a while. Okay, so after you click on finish, and this is what the console is going to load up. So this is the console of your Citrix Studio, and from here is where we are going to perform the management of Citrix controller. The very first thing that has to be done over here is site setup. So for the site setup, we'll just go ahead with deliver applications and desktop to the users. We just need to go ahead and click on this. So now, here you're getting two options: a fully configured site that's recommended for the new users, and or an unconfigured site, or you can call it as the empty site. So if you're going with the fully configured site, just observe the options on the left hand side. If I'm going the empty configured site, you just need to provide the details about the database and licensing. But if you're going with fully configured site, all the connections, networks, the different storages that you have got, right? So each and everything has to be configured right from here. Okay, so what we are going to do is let's not go ahead with a fully configured site. We'll go with an empty and configured site. Let me name this site as just a training, and I go with next. Now database. So here is where you need to provide the details about the SQL server. SQL server details are required over here. So we have not installed the SQL server on the same machine. We have a separate machine where it is maintaining the database. So let's check the name of the database server and the instance names. Those have been provided to the database server. So here we go. So let's power on the machine, the database machine. And once it is on, we will go ahead and check the details of this. Okay, so here there is no database installed on my server. So we need to install the database now on this machine. So the reason behind why we are doing this is because here if you see about your controller, so if you talk about the controller, it is asking for the database. So I need to have an SQL server for the database. So if I go to my SQL server, so here SQL server is not installed. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to go ahead and install the SQL server here. So installing SQL server is not a rocket science. Very simple task it is. Take some time to come up. Okay, so here welcome. I'll click on the installation and I need to go with new SQL Server standalone installation. Because I'm not installing here any failover server, the standalone server that I'm having. So background check is passed over here. Just go ahead with OK. And wait for quite few seconds. Move the evaluation mode, go with next, accept the license agreement, simply proceed with next. Product updates I don't require. So just checking for the installation files, whether all the required files are available or are there any files missing. So let's wait for it to get completed. So the setup file check has been completed. So let's wait for the next box to pop up. So checking for the support rules. So see here that all the rules have been passed and say Microsoft.NET application security, and it's a warning. You can just ignore it. Need not worry about it. Just proceed next. Yes, SQL Server feature installation. Go with next on this. So I need database engine services. I need replication, full text support, data quality, analytic, reports, and what else do we need? SQL data tools, client tools connectivity, and integration services. Let's have the SDK also, and obviously the management tools, very important. If you miss this out, it's gonna be the nightmares. Then you need to have client connectivity SDKs. Okay, that is it, and good to go. Let's proceed with next on this. So all the tests passed here. Go with next. Now instance name, I don't want to keep it as a default instance. I'll name my instance as XT. Hit tab, instance ID is picked up. Just proceed with next. So all the disk space requirement is checked over here. Just go with next. Now account name, I would like to have I need to give the credentials of my domain administrator. Let's come, and password for my administrator. Again, the same thing, I'll be using it over here. Here as well. and let me keep all the services automatic. Proceed with next. Nothing else to change. Now it's all about next and install. So the authentication, I would go with mixed mode authentication, and this is going to be my SA password. SA is your SQL default administrator that we will be having. SQL admin, add the current user. So I have logged in with the domain admin, so I clicked and add the current user. Next, again add the current user, go next, install and configure, next, not required, next, ready to install and install. It's gonna take. Okay, so here we go. So the SQL installation is finally completed. So I will just show you here once. So the management tools, SQL, here you can see that SQL Server Management Studio. It takes some time to open up. So I go ahead and hit for connect. Okay, so the database is connected, and you see here that the instance name is XD. So now let's integrate it. So what I'm going to do here is let's get back to the controller machine. So the controller machine here is where we had stopped. So let's provide the details here. So server name is SQL / name of the database is XD. Let me test for the connection. The service could not contact the database. Press OK. OK, no problem. So here actually why this particular warning had come up, that is because in the database, in the instance that got created in the database, we don't have an instance by the name citrix training. Okay, so this database was not available. So that's the reason it gave that pop-up. No issues, we just go ahead with next. License server is installed on the same machine, the controller machine itself. We have installed the license server. So you can see here it uses the 30 days trial by default, and it's connected to the local host. Just proceed next and go with, I don't want to join any statistics, just finish. So here for generating the database schemas, it's gonna again take some time to finish it up. Let's wait for it to get completed. So schemas are created, and now it is going ahead and creating the databases. So it'll take some time to create the database. Okay, so here the site configuration is completed. So next is we are supposed to work with the hosting service, where, or in other terms you can say the configuring the connection service, where we are going to configure the hypervisors, or in other terms you can say that attaching the hypervisors or getting the hypervisors registered with this controller, and then we have to go ahead and configure the storefront service. So the remaining configurations we will see in the next video series. Thank you.